So I think as a lot of us have noted, the market is a weird and wild place in MLB The Show 24. It doesn't really make a lick of sense, but you need stubs. It's kind of the name of the game. So we're going to talk about some of the best players to invest in. Real life baseball translating to big in-game currency. Let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think is going to go up to Diamond this year? And leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel. But first, a quick word from Underdog Fantasy. Baseball is officially back, and that means Underdog is in full swing. And they've really stepped up their game this year, with more player prompts than ever. It's as simple as it could be. You just pick a higher or lower on a player's prop, such as Ronald Acuna Jr.'s fantasy points, or you could get a bit freaky with the peppers. These are enhanced multipliers. You see Fernando Tatis hitting a home run would net you a 2.75 multiplier, dramatically increasing your payout. This year for baseball, Underdog is launching rescues. If a player in the starting lineup gets taken out of the game before his third plate appearance, you can be eligible for a rescue, which in today's MLB, where seemingly everybody gets hurt, is very helpful. You guys can use my promo code GOMES and you'll get a $100 deposit match. I've been loving playing Underdog while watching the game so far this season, and you guys make sure to check them out. Thank you to Underdog for sponsoring the channel. Alrighty, so first things first, the first roster update probably not going to be coming until the third-ish week of April. And in recent years, a lot of people have asked, is it even worth it to invest in roster updates? And I'd say absolutely. If you look at the quick sell value calendar, which determines a card's least possible value, technically, since MLB 22 in the new pro-rated quick sell value system, roster update investing is better than ever. But who should you invest in? Well, let's talk about it. We'll start off with Mr. Corbin Burnes. Of course, he's a former Cy Young Award winner. He had a fantastic opening start against the Angels, and he doesn't go for that much. Again, an 85 overall is going to go for bare minimum 3,000 stubs. It is looking very likely, and this is with him supercharged. If you wait until after today, he's just going to plummet even more in price. Great investment. I'll talk about a couple of his teammates. The reigning Rookie of the Year winner, Gunnar Henderson, again, as an 82 overall right now, does not go for a whole lot. He is primed to go diamond this year. But of course, it's not only about the golds to diamonds, it's also about the low guys going up way high. And Grayson Rodriguez is an excellent low-cost buy-in at 181. He looked great down the stretch last year for Baltimore, and he's had a very good opening start to his 2024 campaign. Tyler O'Neill's first year in Boston has started out pretty dang good, and for a supercharged card, he doesn't go for anything, and he's off to a great start. He's not striking out much. He's hitting home runs. He's got 5 hits already. I think big boosts are coming to Tyler's way soon. I want to talk about Tanner Houck because he's a guy who looked really good when he first came out with the Boston Red Sox. Last year struggled a bit, but it seems he is right back on track, 73 overall, barely going for over 100 stubs. Excellent investment. And as we talked about the quick sell calendar, this really goes to show how good it can be. Juan Soto, of course, is not cheap. He goes for 11,000 at the moment, partly due to him being supercharged, partly due to the fact that he's a Yankee. But Juan Soto, I think, has a chance to go 90 plus, especially he can't get any worse defensively. That's another big thing for roster updates is they don't move defensive ratings too often, but when they do, it's a significant jump to a player's overall. So if Juan Soto can play a better right field, which is the position he definitely found a home in San Diego in 2022, I think he's bound to go 90 plus. Which, of course, if you did not know, Diamond's 90 plus overall for live series are at a higher valuation on the market, just due to the fact they're more difficult to pull. I know the Blue Jays just got no hit. I know it's looking bleak right now, but Kevin Gausman, he's a guy that I've liked really ever since he resurrected his career in San Francisco, and he will have the occasional bad outing, but his splitter's so good, it's so difficult to not trust him. Again, a guy who was really good down the stretch last year. Great start this year. He's so cheap. He gets to Diamond at some point every single year. Great buy-in. Let's talk Chicago. There's not a ton to be excited about in the South Side right now, but the crotch rocket, Garrett Crochet, is only 24 years old, and he's finally transitioned into a starting role in that Sox rotation. Great opening start against Detroit. I really like him this year. And again, very cheap to buy in on. I highly recommend him. Staying in the AL Central, Josh Naylor. He put up a very underrated season last year. Was really good with the bat. And similarly, he's had a pretty dang good start to 2024. A guy doesn't go for a lot. Basically quick sell value for an 83 overall. Pretty much a zero risk investment that has so much upside. I really, really like that one for the guards. The Tigers, we'll talk about Tarek Skubal. Of course, he's not so sneakily being named as a dark horse candidate for the AL Cy Young Award. Very, very talented as long as he can stay on the field. Much that you can say for a lot of the guys in Detroit there. Does not go for a whole lot. Again, these guys are supercharged. They should be supercharged through the roof on their price, but that's not the case. He's a guy destined to go Diamond. Free stubs, as I like to say. And Jack Flaherty might not be so free stubs, but he could net you a lot. If you believe in the resurgence, a former Cy Young candidate in Jack Flaherty with the Cardinals, I think he's got it back. His velo's back up in Detroit. He looks himself again. He looks healthy. He could be dangerous. Another low overall here for the Royals, Cole Ragans, who I love. He dominated the Twins. Mind you, it is the Twins. It's pretty easy to strike out Minnesota, but he's so good. And to think that the Royals got him for simply taking a chance on Aroldis Chapman last year, really taking advantage of Texas. The rare loss the Rangers took in 2023. But also, Vinny Pasquantino, I also really like. He's not off to a meteoric start by any means. Actually, kind of a cold start through his first 3 games. But I really like Vinny P. The plate skills he shows as such a young player. Obviously was hurt last year. People are down on him. It's your time to be up and make a killing. We'll move over to Minnesota, who we talked about. The hitting has certainly not been very good, but the pitching has been great. It's been stellar. And Pablo Lopez, yeah, he's going to go Diamond very, very soon. He's on the precipice just like Corbin Burns, but he's even cheaper than Corbin. 1,800 stubs is, again, merely quick sell value for a guy who has 1 to 2 more good starts. The first roster update, he will be Diamond, and you're going to make a ton off him. So I love the Pablo investment right there. Dusty Baker is finally gone, which means Martin Maldonado is no longer there to vulture starting lineup spots from Yanir, and he's hitting very well to start the season. I just really like him a lot. The batted ball data is very favorable on him, and there's a ton of investment opportunity. George Kirby, we know him as a guy who limits walks, doesn't strike out a lot. Well, his first start was pretty good, and a guy like him who has such a finite control of the strike zone, it's a BABIP game, you know? If you're not walking guys, they're going to put the ball into play, and if it doesn't find holes, he's going to have great outings. I think Kirby has worked on his strikeout stuff, so this could be a truly breakout season and a year that he gets up to Diamond. I'm not sure if he's gotten there before, but I think he will this year. Ozzie Albies for the Braves, another guy that is pretty much always on the 84.5 overall mark. He started into the blue. He started on the upper this year, and he's off to a great start. 1,200 OPS through the first couple of games. Doesn't go for a ton, and he has great gameplay value as a switch hitter who's going to get inside edge buffs. The Mets might not have won a game thus far, but Francisco Alvarez in year number 2 is looking really, really good. And I think this year he's going to kind of set himself apart as one of the premier catchers in Major League Baseball. Again, a guy who doesn't go for a ton, considering he's playing on a very big market team, which does tend to affect prices. If a guy on the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Mets has a good game, they're more likely to raise in price because more people are watching it than, let's say, the Oakland Oakland A's. So Francisco Alvarez, love that investment right there. Move over to one that I'm very happy to talk about. That's with the Chicago Cubs and Christopher Morel, who is not striking out nearly as much. Granted, it's been only a couple of games, but I believe he has just one strikeout thus far, and the power's there once again. I mean, he's trying to scrub off the image of the Javier Baez 2.0. That really seems present with him in Chicago there. I'm a big Chris Morel fan, and he's off to a pretty damn good start. Staying in the Central, we're talking about the Brewers. There's a lot of players that I like for investing here. William Contreras kind of set himself apart as one of the best defensive catchers in baseball, which is, again, where you wonder why his defensive ratings are so low. You wonder if anybody in San Diego has access to TV. I don't think Milwaukee's blacked out from your area, devs, but William, he hits well, he fields well, he's a great investment at that price. Freddie Peralta, again, talk about a guy who has a great chance at a Cy Young. Freddie Peralta has had great moments, and he had a fantastic opening start. Ton of investment opportunity once again right here. And we'll move to the other 5-0 team, the one in the National League, opposite of the Yankees, the Pittsburgh Pirates. A big reason is these two. Brian Reynolds, who again always seems to find himself in the conversation to get up to Diamond. He's a switch hitter, which is bound to boost his value because people want to use this card. And Ke'Bryan Hayes, who is one of my favorite picks this year for an under-the-radar MVP-type candidate. He's so good defensively, and he really turned it on with the bat in the second half last year. The power, I don't know if it's ever going to be 25, 30 home run worthy, but if he can etch his way into the upper 10s, low 20s in homers, you're talking about a bona fide MVP candidate with the kind of WAR he's going to put up with that kind of defense. Also, O'Neal Cruz, who I also love. He is not great against lefties. I do think his fielding is better than what it shows right here. He did have some issues in 2022, but I'm a big O'Neal Cruz fan. Of course, a lot of people are as well, so the market's kind of moved on him. But definitely, if you get him, keep him. He will go up. In the NL West, Christian Walker is always a guy who really goes under the radar, partly because he plays in Arizona. Despite the fact they're in the World Series, a lot of people don't pay as much attention as they probably should. Christian Walker is kind of like Paul Goldschmidt, two first basemen that probably didn't get the credit they deserved early on in their career. And I think he's definitely going to go diamond sooner rather than later. He's off to another hot start to begin 2024. For the Dodgers, you're looking at Will Smith, a guy who recently got extended, and he's playing like a man who's got money. He's looking really good. He's one of the best catchers in baseball, and he's once again just at quick sell value. You know, if he goes diamond, gets a +1, he's pretty much going to make you 1,200 stubs for every Will Smith that you buy. Bobby Miller, we talk so much about Yoshinobu, Tyler Glasnow, the big new arms in that Los Angeles rotation. Let's talk about Bobby Miller, MLB The Show legend from his Future Stars card in years past. He's phenomenal. I mean, he didn't get as much credit as he deserved with such a superstar roster that the Dodgers had last year. Terrific first start. He's going to be probably diamond this year. That's a 78 overall, but I definitely think he's got what it takes. Wrap things up, Xander Bogaerts with the San Diego Padres. He is always very, very good in the first couple months of the season. He's bound to go diamond at some point, so great investment right there. And then finally, the San Francisco Giants. A couple of new players that they got. Matt Chapman, who, again, much like Xander, always kills it early season. He's hit a couple home runs already throughout the 2024 campaign. And then Jordan Hicks, a guy who probably fell under the radar to a lot of people. I can't even see him. He's rated a 69 overall. Grossly underrated for the kind of talent that he has. He's back into the rotation. He's got a lot of room to grow, of course. but he's not very expensive, and he has looked so sharp this spring and through his first start in 2024. Those are my picks. That's how you're going to make millions of stubs on the market this year. Who do you think is going to go diamond? And as soon as we know when the first roster update is, we'll make an update and talk about who you should move your stubs to next. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.